My dearest child, have you looked at yourself lately and wondered if I still see you the same way? If my heart for you has changed? If the distance you felt was enough to disqualify you? You've quietly asked, would he still choose me after everything? And here's my answer, clear and eternal. You're still the one I chose. I didn't choose you because you were flawless. I didn't call you because you got everything right. I chose you knowing every valley you'd walk through, every mistake you'd make, every moment you'd feel unworthy. And I chose you anyway. I haven't changed my mind, and I never will. From the very beginning, before you had a name in this world, you had a name in my heart. I didn't wait to see how your life would unfold before deciding you were worthy of love. I didn't weigh your potential against your pain. I didn't place conditions on your calling. I chose you with full knowledge of every moment that would come. Your joy, your failure, your confusion, your silence. None of it scared me. None of it surprised me. I saw it all and still said, this one is mine. You've measured yourself by your lowest points. You've allowed the echo of shame to redefine you. You've looked back at seasons where you were far from me and wondered if they rewrote the story. They didn't. I never crossed your name out. I never replaced you. I never stopped calling you mine. Even in your wandering, my hand never lifted from your life. I wasn't watching from a distance, waiting for you to clean yourself up. I was walking with you through the dust, whispering reminders of who you are, even when you couldn't hear them.
You thought I left you when you drifted, but the truth is, I stepped closer. I didn't pull away. I protected what you thought was lost. I covered what you thought was ruined. You see yourself through the lens of delay and detour. I see you through the lens of design. The purpose I placed in you didn't evaporate when your heart grew weary. The calling I whispered over you didn't dissolve when life became heavy. It's still there. It's still alive. And now I'm awakening it again, not because I'm giving you a second chance, but because the first one was never revoked. I know what you've walked through. I know what you've tried to forget. I know the moments you'd rather hide from me. But I also know the depth of who you are beyond those moments. I know the softness you buried to protect yourself. I know the tenderness that still stirs when you let the noise quiet down. I know the courage it took to survive even when you couldn't thrive, and I honor it all. I don't need you to explain why you stayed away. I don't need an apology before I offer restoration. My love doesn't wait for the perfect confession. It meets you in the ache. It meets you when you're still unsure if you're allowed to believe again. That's what grace does. It moves first. It reaches for you before you know how to reach back. And now, here we are. You and me, and I'm not looking at your past. I'm looking at your heart, right here, right now, still open, still hungry, still mine. You were never forgotten. Even when you forgot how to pray, even when you stopped believing that you mattered, I was there, not in judgment, but in compassion. I counted every tear you didn't let fall. I heard every question you buried beneath distractions. And I waited, not in impatience, but in love. I waited because I knew this day would come, this softening, this remembering, this return. And now, I want you to understand something that will change how you walk from here forward. You were not chosen once. You are chosen still, present tense, ongoing, eternal. You're not living to earn your place again. You're living from a place that was never taken from you. That's why your spirit still responds when I speak. That's why you feel my presence, even when you thought you were too far. Because you were never disqualified. You were only wounded, So lift your head again. Not because you've earned it, but because you're allowed to come back into my presence. Not as a guest, but as someone who never lost their place. Let the lies fall off your shoulders like dust. Let the shame drop like chains. Let me remind you of what's been true all along. You're still the one I chose, and I didn't choose you lightly. I chose you knowing everything, and I still do. You've spent so much time believing that my love for you was fragile, that my choice depended on your behavior, that one wrong turn, one quiet season, one unanswered prayer was enough to make me change my mind. But let me speak this to the core of your being. I chose you with everything in mind. Not just the parts you let others see, not just the moments where you got it right. I saw it all. The hesitation, the shame, the moments where you wanted to give up, the questions you whispered in the dark, the parts of your story you hoped I had forgotten. I didn't forget them. I knew them before they happened, and I still said yes. You were never chosen because of your perfection. You were chosen because of your design, because of the intention I placed inside you when I formed you in silence, before your first breath was drawn. That was not an accident. That was not random. There was nothing casual about the moment I wrapped your name in purpose and called it good. I knew who you would be. I knew the weight you would carry. I knew the ways the world would try to rename you, reframe you, reduce you. But I also knew how I would keep pulling you back, back to truth, back to belonging, back to me. Yet now, here you are, closer than you think. Your spirit has responded before your mind could catch up. That stirring you feel, that gentle ache, that's recognition. Your soul is remembering what it means to be chosen, not for performance, but for presence, to be known fully and still wanted, to be loved, not in spite of the story, but because I'm the one still writing it. You've called yourself too much, too sensitive, too inconsistent, too far gone. Others may have agreed. You may have heard it in their tone, in their silence, in the way they pulled back when you needed them most. I know how that shaped you. I know how deeply rejection cuts. I know how quickly you learn to protect yourself by being smaller, quieter, safer. But let me tell you now, in a voice that is not angry but healing, I never pulled back. I never distanced myself. I never stopped calling your name, even when you weren't listening, even when you turned away, even when the pain felt more real than my promises. You are not meant to live in hiding. You are not meant to spend your life apologizing for the ways your heart still beats. You are not meant to believe. I chose you knowing you would wander. I chose you knowing the days would come when faith would feel heavy and worship would feel hollow. I chose you knowing that you would struggle to receive this kind of love. And I still chose you. Let that settle. Let it breathe in your chest. Let it quiet the lie that says you've gone too far. Let it silence the voice that says you have to start over to be found again. You don't. You're already found. You're already held. You're already walking in the direction of healing. Not because you mapped it out perfectly, but because you allowed me to draw near when everything in you said you didn't deserve it. You don't need to fix yourself to belong to me. You don't need to rewrite the past to earn your way back. Your redemption isn't fragile. It's not conditional. It doesn't hang on your ability to feel worthy. It hangs on my decision. And I decided before the world began that you would be mine, that your life would carry light, that your heart, though bruised, would still beat with the rhythm of grace. And it does. You're still the one I chose. And I didn't choose you for what you could do for me. I chose you so I could walk with you, so I could show you what love looks like in real time, so I could remind you again and again that you are never too far, too late, or too damaged for me. Nothing disqualifies you from what I've declared over your life. The detours didn't cancel the calling. The silence didn't erase the voice. The weakness didn't scare me off. It pulled me closer. So let me stay close now. Let me keep rebuilding you, not by pressure, but by presence. Let me teach you how to breathe again, not with fear, but with freedom. Let me lead you gently back to yourself, the self that never stopped being mine. You don't need to earn this moment. You only need to receive it. Rest here. Remember this. I knew everything, and I still said yes, not reluctantly, not conditionally, but with joy. You're still the one I chose, and I would choose you again every time. You spent time wondering if you missed it, if too much time has passed, if too many wrong turns have made your purpose unreachable. You've asked in silence, did I lose what you placed in me? You felt the calling once, strong, clear, even exciting, but life happened. Disappointment dulled your passion. Failure made you second-guess everything. People you trusted walked away, and somewhere along the way the flame began to flicker. You told yourself, maybe it was never real. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe someone else was meant to carry what once burned so bright. But I need you to hear me clearly now. The purpose I placed in you still lives. It didn't die when your confidence did. It didn't vanish when you went quiet. It didn't leave when you did. It has been waiting, not for your perfection, but for your permission. Waiting for the moment you would lift your head again. Waiting for the day you would believe, just for a breath, that it might not be over, that you are not over. And that moment is now. What I called you to wasn't based on momentum or emotional hype. It was based on my knowing. I knew who you were. I knew what you'd walk through. I knew how your soul would stretch and break and heal again. And I still designed your calling with every part of you in mind. Not just the polished parts, but the broken ones too. Not just the days you feel full of fire, but the days when all you have left is a whisper of yes. I can work with that. I am working with that. You may not know where to start. That's okay. You're not starting from nothing. You're starting from truth, from alignment, from surrender, and that's always been where purpose breathes best. You thought you needed a platform. You thought you needed clarity. You thought you had to rebuild everything you lost before you could be useful again. But I don't use people based on the strength of their resumes. I move through people who are willing, who are honest, who show up anyway. That's who you are now, and that's more than enough. Let me remind you of what you carry. The tenderness you thought disqualified you, it's what makes you trustworthy. The wounds you tried to hide, they've become the soil for deep empathy. The sensitivity you once hated, it's how I tuned your spirit to hear me clearly. The seasons that felt wasted, They were root work, quiet work, necessary work. Nothing I walked with you through was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single delay. I've gathered every moment, and I'm weaving it into something holy. You haven't lost time. I'm the redeemer of time. What you think you've missed, I've already folded into your future. What you believe is too late, I've already prepared to bloom at the right moment. You don't need to go back and fix everything. You need only to return to me. And now that you have, we begin again, not from the start, but from exactly where you are. The wisdom you carry now, the softness, the depth, those things were not present in your early days, but they are now. And that means what comes next will be richer, fuller, deeper than anything you've known before. You're not being asked to build something huge. You're being asked to walk closely, to live honestly, to carry my light into every space you step into, not with force, but with peace. That's what real purpose. People will start to notice the shift in you. They'll feel safe around your peace. They'll ask different kinds of questions. They'll linger longer in your presence without knowing why. That's what it looks like when someone walks in purpose. It's not always loud. It's not always visible. But it is powerful because it comes from me. And in the places where fear still whispers, "But what if I fail again?" let me speak louder. Even if you fall, I'll still be there. I'm not fragile. My calling over you isn't breakable. I don't revoke purpose because of detours. I reinforce it with grace. You're not starting over. You're moving forward with a deeper foundation, with truer strength, with a clearer understanding of who I am and who you are. Don't look at others and compare your pace. Don't measure yourself against someone else's assignment. Stay in your lane. Trust what I've given you. It fits you. It's shaped for your story, for your voice, for your steps. No one else can walk it. No one else can carry what's been entrusted to you. You may think it's small, but watch what I do with it. Watch how I multiply what's surrendered. Watch how I bring life from what you thought was buried. So take the first step, even if it's trembling. Speak what's been stirring. Share what you once silenced. Reach for what once seemed too far. You're not alone in this. I'm not sending you. I'm going with you. My spirit will guide you. My grace will sustain you. My presence will remind you over and over again that you're still the one I chose, and the purpose I placed in you still lives. You're free to walk without pressure now. The weight you've carried, the internal urgency to prove yourself, the pressure to do everything right, the constant tension of being enough, none of that came from me. That was never your burden. That was never the foundation of your calling. You were never meant to carry what only my spirit was designed to hold. You learned to measure your worth through what you accomplished, through how much others approved, through how visible or valuable your output seemed. I saw it. I saw how it kept you up at night. I saw how it made you question whether you were failing, even when you were faithful. I saw how you buried joy beneath exhaustion and called it obedience. But I never asked you to hustle your way into purpose. I never asked you to wear yourself down, trying to fulfill something I never placed on you in the first place. My invitation has always been this: walk with me, not run ahead of me. Not chase down your worth, just walk side. And now I'm asking you to trust that it's okay to live this way. Gently, honestly, fully. Without striving, without comparison, without feeling like every day has to be a grand display of progress. Some days will be quiet. Some days will feel slow. But in that quiet, I'm still working. In that slowness, I'm still moving. Growth in my kingdom is not always visible. It's often deep, quiet, rooted. You're not being lazy when you rest. You're being wise. You're being faithful to the rhythm of grace. Let go of the voice that tells you rest is dangerous, that if you stop pushing, you'll fall behind, that if you stop producing, you'll lose what you've been given. Those voices are not mine. They come from fear, not love. I don't rush what I create. I don't pressure what I plant. I don't shame what I restore. The version of you that I walk with now is not behind schedule. You're right on time. And the pace I set for you is one of peace. That doesn't mean there won't be action. It doesn't mean I won't ask you to step out. But what it means is this: every movement will come from overflow, not obligation. From trust, not tension. From joy, not dread. I'm not trying to get more out of you. I'm inviting more into you. More presence, more clarity, more delight in being fully mine, without needing to carry the burden of results. You've already seen what pressure produces: burnout, shame, disconnection. Now, I want to show you what freedom produces: creativity, compassion, connection, and peace that lingers. When you begin to walk without fear of missing me, your hands open, your heart softens, your vision clears. You're able to see people again, not as assignments, but as human beings. You begin to see yourself again, not as a project, but as a person, a beloved one. You don't need to do something massive to prove that your life matters. You already matter. You already carry weight in the Spirit. Your presence, when rooted in me, becomes ministry. Your listening becomes healing. Your silence becomes sacred. That's what happens when pressure falls and presence rises. You become available to me, to yourself, to the people I've trusted you to love, without rushing them, fixing them, and when the world tries to pull you back into pressure, into performance, into proving, pause. Breathe. Remember this truth. You're free now. You're no longer earning your seat at the table. You're sitting in it. You're no longer working for a crown. You already wear one. You're no longer waiting to be loved. You are eternally. You're free to walk without fear that I'll change my mind. I won't. You're free to walk without needing applause. I already delight in you. You're free to walk without needing to know every next step. I already see the road ahead. So walk slowly, walk fully, walk free. Because I chose you for this, not to run, but to remain. Not to burn out, but to build. Not to prove, but to carry peace. You don't have to try to be enough anymore. You already are, and I'm walking every step with you. Now that you've released the pressure, now that you've stopped measuring your value by how much you carry, something beautiful is beginning to happen, even if you can't see it yet. Your presence is already making a way, not because you've done anything impressive, but because you've become someone real. someone whole, someone rooted. The kind of person whose life carries a quiet strength that shifts atmospheres without a single word. You used to think that impact had to be loud, that influence had to look like leadership or visibility. But in my kingdom, weight isn't measured by volume, it's measured by presence. And the presence you now walk in, the stillness you now carry, the peace that surrounds you, it's making space for others to breathe again. Without trying, without planning, without even knowing it. People feel different around you now. They may not be able to name it. They may not even understand why. But something about you slows them down. Something about your voice steadies their heart. Something about your gaze makes them feel safe. Without knowing why, that something is me. It's my presence flowing through you, not because you're trying to be spiritual, but because you're finally living as someone who belongs. You're no longer striving to be significant. You're walking in significance simply by being aligned. You're not asking, how can I lead? You're living in a way that others naturally follow. You're not standing above anyone. You're sitting with them. And that's what makes the difference. That's what makes the healing possible. You're present. You're listening. You're not afraid of someone else's pain because you've walked through your own. You know what it feels like to be held. So now you know how to hold space for others without needing to fix or perform. This is spiritual maturity. Not control, not perfection, but availability. And your availability now carries anointing. It carries clarity. It carries me. You don't need to strategize it. You don't need to force it. Just keep being. Keep showing up honest. Keep choosing peace when you could react. Keep holding silence when the world demands noise. Those small choices, they're shifting things in homes, in conversations, in hearts. You may think, but I'm not doing anything special. That's exactly why it's working. Because the pressure is gone. Your presence is pure. It's not mixed with insecurity. It's not tangled in shame. It's not rooted in ambition. It's coming from me. It's carrying the fruit of a life lived in rhythm with my spirit. And fruit speaks louder than effort ever will. This is the way of Jesus, not the way of power over, but love alongside. Not performance, but peace. And now that peace lives in you, it walks through you. Yes, people will notice, some will be drawn to you, some may even misunderstand you. That's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to remain faithful to what I've done in you. And as you do, I'll move in places you can't see. I'll speak through moments you thought were insignificant. I'll answer prayers through you that you'll never know were even asked. You are not a fixer. You are a witness, a carrier of light, a voice that doesn't echo culture, but carries heaven. And that voice doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be real, grounded, aligned. You have become someone others feel safe around, not because you have every answer, but because you no longer need to be right. You've learned how to stay, how to love without demand, how to remain calm when fear rises in the room. That kind of presence is rare. That kind of presence is powerful. So stop questioning whether you're doing enough. You are, simply by remaining, simply by living in the truth that you are mine and I am with you. Your presence isn't loud, but it's undeniable. It isn't showy, but it's unshakable, and it's enough. Let me continue to use you like this, not as a spotlight, but as a shelter, a place others can encounter peace, a place where people remember what it feels like to be known without being judged. A place where love flows freely because fear is no longer driving the conversation. That's who you are now. That's what you carry. And it's already making a way. So stop minimizing your influence. Stop waiting for someone else to validate your impact. I've already spoken over your life. I've already affirmed your calling. I've already equipped you for every conversation you're about to step into. You don't need a title to carry me. You don't need credentials to speak peace. You need only to remain open, present, true. I will do the rest. I'll open the right doors. I'll guide the right words. I'll protect your heart when the weight feels heavy. I'll carry the moments when you feel unseen, because you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are an answer I am sending into spaces that need me. I know there's still a part of you that asks, can I really live like this? A part of you that wonders if all this healing, this peace, this clarity is something that will last, or if it's just a moment, a high point, something that will slip away like so many other things have. I understand why that fear lives in you. You've had seasons that started with promise and ended with disappointment. You've walked through moments of breakthrough only to feel lost again soon after. But I need you to know this. This is not just a moment. This is who you are now. You didn't imagine what you felt. You didn't fake your restoration. You didn't force your way into peace. You surrendered. You opened. You allowed me in. And because of that, something permanent shifted in you. Not perfect, but permanent. Something that doesn't depend on your performance. Something that doesn't vanish when your feelings fluctuate. Something rooted in me, and I do not change. You've returned to the place of your name, the place where you no longer carry shame like a second skin, the place where your softness is no longer a weakness, the place where peace is not something you visit, but something you carry. You no longer have to brace for collapse. You no longer have to fear that this version of you will disappear. It won't, because it's not built on emotion. It's built on truth, and truth doesn't fade, it deepens. So let go of the fear that you'll fall back into who you used to be. That person isn't in charge anymore. The version of you that lived to survive, to hide, to please, that version no longer leads. You've come out of that place. You've been re-entered, not by your strength, but by my grace. And now you can walk with a steadiness that's quiet, but unshakable. Not because life will always feel easy, but because you no longer confuse hardship with failure. You've learned to be with me in the silence. You've learned to stay present when things don't go according to plan. You've learned that my love isn't dependent on how much you do or how well you behave. It's rooted in who I've declared you to be. And now you live. You no longer have to question whether you're doing enough. Your presence is enough. Your obedience is enough. Your quiet yes. Your hidden faithfulness. Your decision to stay soft in a hard world. These things matter. They carry weight. They speak louder than the effort you use to pour into proving yourself. This is maturity. Not that everything is certain, but that you no longer abandon yourself when things are not. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be present, to remain in the truth of who you are now, to walk through life as someone who no longer hides, as someone who doesn't shrink, as someone who believes they're worthy of peace. Not someday, but now. Not if you hit the next milestone, but because you belong to me. And I know you'll still have days when old voices try to come back. The inner critic, the comparison, the familiar weight of not enough. But now you know what to do with those voices. You don't let them drive you. You don't let them define you. You bring them into the light. You let me speak louder. And I will. Every time, I will remind you of what we've walked through together. I will remind you of who you are, not based on emotion, but on essence. Because I don't love versions of you. I love you, the full you, the healed and healing, the strong and still learning, the brave and sometimes uncertain. I chose you knowing the whole story. I still choose you today, and I will choose you tomorrow. You can rest in that. You can breathe in that. You can build your life from that. Let this be your new rhythm, not the frantic pace of trying to earn your place, but the steady pace of someone who already knows their home. Let that confidence color the way you speak to yourself. Let it shape the way you show up for others. Let it rewrite the way you enter rooms, not asking, "Do I belong here?" but knowing I carry something sacred and I bring it with me. This isn't a version of you that will disappear when life gets hard. This is the version of you that knows how to return, that knows how to remain, that knows how to rest, that knows that storms don't erase identity, they reveal roots. And your roots now are in me. So walk without apology, speak with gentleness, lead without pressure, rest without guilt. You are no longer becoming, you are being. Being who I always saw, even when you couldn't see it yet. Being who you've always been underneath the noise. Being someone who doesn't live to prove, but to carry peace. You are the same soul I called before the world. You've asked quietly, "Am I really ready?" And I know what you mean. You're not asking about skills or strategy. You're asking if your heart is truly whole enough, steady enough, rooted enough to walk this out. You're wondering if you can carry what I've placed in you without dropping it, without slipping back into old patterns, without losing yourself again along the way. And here's my answer, simple and true. You're ready. Not because everything is resolved, but because you've learned to remain. Readiness in my kingdom doesn't mean you never feel weak. It doesn't mean your confidence is constant or that your emotions never sway. It means that when things shift, you stay close. It means you've stopped running when things get quiet. It means you now know where to return when the world grows loud. That's what makes you ready. That's what sets you apart. I'm not sending you because you've become flawless. I'm sending you because you've become faithful. You've become familiar with my voice again. You've let me rewrite the names you carried in secret. You've let me walk with you through memories that once made you turn away. You didn't speed through the process. You sat in it. You let me hold you long enough for your identity to settle, not just in your mind, but in your bones. And now, even when fear rises, you don't leave yourself behind anymore. You remain. That's what I can build on. Not perfection, but presence. Not performance, but peace. Not strength that never breaks, but surrender that doesn't run. The world often waits for people to look ready, to look polished, loud, confident. But I don't move like the world does. I anoint the ones who've learned how to be real. The ones who don't rush to speak but know how to listen. The ones who've met me in their own darkness and now carry a quiet authority because of it. You are one of those. What I've taught you in the hidden places is not meant to stay there. That healing, it's become language. That silence you endured, it's become discernment. That grace you received when you had nothing left to offer, it's become fuel for compassion. The peace you carry now is not fragile, it's proven. And I trust you with it. I trust you to walk it into spaces that still feel heavy for others. I trust you to hold it when others are crumbling. I trust you to remain calm when others expect chaos. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've anchored your life in the one who does. You're ready to live in the light you once only hoped for, to step into places you thought you were disqualified from, to show up fully, freely, without apology. You're ready to rest when it's time to rest, and to rise when it's time to rise. You don't need to look a certain way, you just need to stay close. That closeness, our closeness, is your preparation. You no longer need constant affirmation to stay grounded. You no longer need to be rescued from yourself. You've learned how to pause. You've learned how to listen. You've learned how to choose peace without asking permission. Let that be your rhythm now. Let it shape the way you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you choose your next step. You're no longer chasing clarity, you're living in it. You're no longer begging to be chosen. You've remembered that you